Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome, one and all. Robin Hyde, thank you so much for being here. Greatly appreciate it. And let's see who else is here. Lady Metatrons, Dolores Williams, Mimi M. uh, what is Metatrons? I'm just curious about that. Um, you'll forgive me if I'm picturing a sci-fi movie, Metatrons. Is that like a sci-fi name or character? But if that's your name, that's cool too. It's just so unique and interesting. But it's okay. We're all God's children, right? Yes. Hi, Dolores Williams, Mimi M, Cherry Hill, Janice Goodrich, Marilyn Farley, Black Queen is here. Kim Peaches, Sonia Johnson, Connie Bowman. Hey, Connie Bomber, I had to make up for a few days. Yellow Rose T is here. Church Nelly. Let's see. Andrea Allen S. Helen Marmon. Noreen Bengali. Let's see. Rachel Marara. And did I say Mama Jane? Uh, hey, hey, you. Oh, okay. Dansby 1, Carolyn Teal is here. Leslie F is here. Let's see, who else is here? BS Speaks Royally. Thank you, Connie Bomber, for the super sticker. And thank you for being a member of Royal Sussex. And happy Tuesday to you. Thank you so much for being here. Let's see, Emma D. Well, let me just get on with it, shall we? Because I don't think I have a whole lot to cover today, but I got enough. So it'll be good to get things started. Let's get this porty started. Okay, so under the Conservatives, the UK is set to have the lowest growth in G7 next year. Haven't I been saying this? I've seen similar graphs. Since the global pandemic, out of all the G7 countries, Canada, Japan, Germany, France, the United States, Italy, look who's dead last. Look who's dead last. That is the legacy of the Tories and this desire to leave the European Union. That is directly connected to the Brexit. That is a direct connection to the Brexit. Hey, Joan Garcia, Rochelle Baudreau, Auntie. Would you all stop with these names? Antibiotics? Hey, hey, antibiotics. Thank you so much for being here. And listen, thank you for saving my life on several occasions, antibiotics. Antibiotics. You know what? You all are doing my head in with these names. Oh, excuse me. I'm sitting up here, my nose is running. Antibiotics. Lord have mercy. I tell you, there's been a few vacations where I have come home on a penicillin drip. I could promise you that. That means I had a good time. So thanks for the memories, antibiotic. You are what makes fun possible. Okay. Now that I've said way too much. Hey, Miranda Rios. Okay, I got work to do. I'm not looking at no more of these names. Hey, Anfu. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. Thank you so much. Let's see here. Okay, let's get on with it, shall we? Oh yeah. So anyway, that's all I have to say about this matter. I love to put a side by side of everything that is going wrong, and then put those people next to it. You know what I mean? I like to do that because I want to demonstrate the contrast between what's happening to real hardworking working class people, poor people in one of the wealthiest countries. In spite of that number that you see there, I just want you guys to know that the United Kingdom is still one of the wealthiest countries in the world. Even for a country of size, it is incredibly wealthy. The currency is still doing remarkably well. However, it should be doing so much better, but for the Brexit. Okay? That's all I'm going to say about that. Now, a source said that Dan's column at the Mail Online has been paused, and he is not happy about it. When The Guardian asked Mail Online if Wootton was still being paid, a spokesman told the newspaper that there isn't any update before ending the phone call. So apparently, the pressure, the pressure that is being put upon the media, including GB News and the Mail Online, that pressure seems to be helping to make sure justice is served. Now, it is not in any way saying that Dan Wootton is guilty of anything. These are the facts that have been put forth by Byline News. Byline News is of the opinion, thanks to 3 years of investigative journalism, they are of the opinion that Dan Wootton is an absolute monster. But until it has been proven in a court of law, then he still should be assumed to be innocent. However, we are entitled to our opinions. None of us are entitled to the truth. The truth is a constant, it is what it is. But given the weight of the evidence so far and the fact that, as they say, we have, 10 individuals that are willing to bear witness to the idea that this guy is a monster. So time will tell. We have to be fair about these things because not only is it the morally correct thing to do, but I don't want to get in trouble for saying, yes, I know for sure. Definitely. Yeah, I know for sure. I don't know for sure. However, as they say, where there is smoke, there is usually a fire. So, and in so many of these cases, the people that usually take a back seat are the victims. So the possible victims of this Martin Branning monster, whoever he or she may be, let's remember that there are real people that have been hurt or injured, whether mentally or physically, by what they have accused Dan Wootton and or Martin Branning of. So, interestingly enough, Dan Wootton has not denied the Martin Branning exists. He hasn't denied that. He hasn't denied that he is Martin Branning. We don't know. That will come out in time. So hang in there. Keep tweeting, retweeting, keep posting, reposting. However you share on your social media, keep this story alive so that Martin Branning, whoever he might be, will finally get their comeuppance. So, okay. Excuse me. So here, You can see silence from Dan Wootton's employers, Mail Online, and GB News as head of Commons DCMS committee demands answers from his former boss, the Sun, over Byline's investigation. So I actually made a mistake with the title. I had put the Sun is pausing or dropping Dan Wootton. I'm like, wait. I finally caught it and saved myself. It's not the Sun. It's actually the Mail Online. He left the Sun for whatever reason. And let's not forget that Emily Andrews actually may have possibly have had some kind of run-in with Dan Wootton, which I believe is why she left. Was it the Sun or was it the Mail Online? But either way, she had a run-in with him. And so Duchess of Success here. Hey, Ann. When we don't hear from you for a couple of days, we're all like, now, where's that gal? Where is she at? You know that we have adopted you. So, us older folks, that's what we do. We get very concerned. So, um, just be careful and take care of yourself and avoid the heat so that we don't have to worry. Amen, y'all. Amen. Amen. So, but I get very concerned when I don't see she's posted. I'm like, okay, it's been 2 days. What's up? Hope we don't have to go and look for her. So, all right. So, but thank you so much for the super chat, and thank you for watching Royal Sussex. All right. So, was I too hard on her? Was I too hard on her? Where I come from, when you say gal, that means business. All right, look here, gal. That means business. Okay. So, conservative MP Dame Carolyn, I don't hope I get this name right. Is it uh, Denigrade? Denenage? Dejanay, whatever it is, has asked the tabloid editor Victoria Newton about this newspaper's investigation into the influential TV presenter. So, excuse me. Well, there's let me get over here to this one. I hope I can see it okay. The chair of the Commons Digital Culture, Media, and Sports Committee has written to the editor of The Sun so it can set out what investigations are taking place into the former employee Dan Wootton after Byline Times revealed the presenter hid behind fake online identities to trick and bribe men into revealing compromising sexual material. However, Dan Wootton's current employer, Mail Online and GB News, have still not responded to any questions by this newspaper about whether and why he is still contracted to work for them. Yes, they haven't responded yet. They haven't said anything, although it seems as though the Mail Online has paused his um, vicious column for now. While Wootton's twice weekly Mail Online column has not appeared since Byline's investigation was published, he is still appearing on GB News, Dan Wootton Tonight. Conservative MP Dame Carolyn, that name, wrote to Victoria Newton, editor of The Sun, yesterday, 24 July, about the coverage of the recent BBC News presenter scandal implicating Hugh Edwards and Byline Times investigation into Wootton. Our role is not to challenge individual stories or editorial decisions, but we would be grateful if you could set out the process by which the Sun verifies any story it chooses to report, especially those were issued. Those where issues of privacy may be at stake. That name said. how do you say that name? Is it Denonage? Okay. Given the concerns that have been reported about inaccuracies, challenging narratives, and lack of engagement with some of the parties involved in the case of Mr. Edwards, we would also be interested in understanding what was done to verify this specific story and what, if any, reviews or discussions are ongoing about the Sun's procedures and reporting in this case, and any wider lessons to be learned. In contrast, the Sun's story about Edwards, which was followed up immediately by all major established media outlets, here we go, and dominated headlines for days, mainstream publications have not extensively reported on Byline's investigation into Dan Wootton. Why won't they talk about that? There, now we've gotten to the meat of it. But that person added, since Edward Story's allegations have been made about a former employee of the Sun, Dan Wootton, who has been reported as being involved in payments for sexual material, and said the committee would be grateful if you would set out what investigations are taking place into this matter. I'm sure we'll recognize how important it is for the public. We're sure you will recognize how important it is for the public to have confidence in a newspaper's editorial standards, not only on this particular case, but across all of its reporting, the MP concluded in her correspondence to Newton. Victoria Newton has also responded to the letter. According to Press Gazette, she has revealed that the Sun has appointed legal firm Kinsley Napoli to investigate the Wootton allegations. Kinsley Napoli, which boasts of being go-to firm the go-to firm for white-collar crimes, also represented Rebecca Brooks. Oh my God. I don't know if that's a good thing. Now Chief Executive Officer of the News UK in the telephone hacking scandal. See, they all seem to know each other. Newton, we are investigating relevant matters raised by reports by Byline Times and Guardian last week. We take these allegations seriously, but we are in no position to comment further, and indeed, we make no commitment to make any further comment depending on the outcome of our investigation. While this newspaper has repeatedly asked representatives for Wootton to confirm or deny whether the presenter was or is connected to the online identity Martin Branning, it has not received a response. Wootton has said he denies any allegations of criminality. Now, put a pin in that one. He denies any allegations of criminality. He doesn't deny that there's a connection to Martin Branning. He just says there was no criminality. Byline Times today again contacted both Mail Online and GB News asking for a response to our investigation into Wootton and whether he is still employed by them, and if so, why he has not been suspended pending investigation. Neither acknowledged or responded to our questions. A source said Dan's column at Mail Online has been paused and he is not happy about it. When The Guardian asked Mail Online if Wootton was still being paid, a spokesman told the newspaper that there isn't any update before ending the phone call. Byline Times investigators, that is, who previously worked with Wootton at the now-defunct News of the World, have contacted the DCMS committee to share their evidence. Okay, so there you go. That is what Byline had to say about the article they released yesterday, which was part 3 of this very, very curious case of Mr. Dan Wootton. There you go. So, what say you, Sussex Squad? He has not denied it. He hasn't denied the Martin Branning connection. He just said he hasn't done anything criminal. Let's see. Anfu says, I would like to think that prisoners will know the beast Dan Wootton, aka Martin Branning, and she sees herself as queen of all that's surveyed and some of the prison. Okay, Anfu. Uh, that is quite poetically put. Thank you so much for that. Marjorie says, wouldn't have the editors of the mainstream media under his control with blackmail, allegedly. Why they refuse to report on him? Possibly. He's got their numbers and he's sneaky, gets the goods on them. Yeah, well, we can't know for sure exactly if there's any influence going on here. However, as put, it is interesting how they were all over Hugh what's his name, and when it came to Dan Wootton, it's been like little or no response from most news outlets. Elaine Parker, thank you so much for the super sticker, and thank you for watching.
Royal Sussex.
Happy Tuesday to you, and thank you for being a member, by the way, as well as a moderator. There we go. Okay, so stands. Wait, I was about to say Sun stands by Hugh Edwards' story and is investigating Dan Wootton, MP hears. Tabloid editor Victoria Newton tells committee that decision to publish followed lengthy discussion. So here it says, oh, wait, I won't be able to see that one up there. Let me take a look over here. There we go. The Sun has said it stands by its reporting on Hugh Edwards and is continuing to investigate former employee Dan Wootton. Now, it has been alleged that a lot of this stuff happened while he was at the Sun, amongst other times and places, right? So as the tabloid faces scrutiny over its reporting standards and internal culture, the editor, Victoria Newton, told MPs the Sun was a responsible media. Woo! Let me try that again. It sounds weird, but let me try it again. The Sun was a responsible media organization which has strict editorial and legal framework. Come on now, who y'all think y'all talking to ensure accuracy in its reporting while also taking allegations about internal misconduct very seriously. Go tell it on the mountain. Now, you know what? I managed to keep a straight face till I got to the part about responsible media organization. I managed to keep a straight face until I got to that part. Okay, the Sun reported earlier this month that an anonymous BBC newsreader, later identified as Edwards, had paid a younger person for images, which is a criminal offense. Once Edwards had been suspended by the BBC, the Sun rolled back on his suggestion. I was about to say rode back on his suggestion that any illegal behavior had taken place and blamed the other news outlets for suggesting criminal acts had occurred. Well, you know what? I'm not going to even respond to that part about it, but I'll just say this. Okay, I'll respond just a little bit. we know that in the past, when people want to make stuff go away, they make stuff go away. Like, for instance, let's say if there was a television personality on a talk show that used to come on ITV in the morning who obviously had been up to something, but because they can't get anybody directly affected to collaborate, and because one by one, some of the other voices on social media that was yelling, "Me too," were suddenly silent, then of course the story just went away. But the big difference, as I've pointed out time and time again, is that that person went away. The accused went away. Dan Wootton wants to stay and fight his corner. Whether or not it is true, I'll leave that to the investigators. Whether or not it's true, I will leave that to a court of law if it makes it that far. But for now, I am going to leave it alone. But, well, in your heart, you know what you know, and that's all to it. So Newton said that Edward's story was clearly in the public interest as it involved parents seeking help on behalf of a vulnerable young person with an addiction to that stuff there, who was allegedly receiving tens of thousands of pounds from one of the BBC's best known presenters. She also said the son had been a responsible. I almost choked. Let me try that again. She also said the son, I can't say it, and was okay, let me try this one more time. She also said the son had been a responsible publisher that was careful with potentially identifying details. At no point have we identified the gender of the young person, which the BBC has done on more than one. I don't know why that doesn't seem to lend any type of confidence, but okay, fine. Which is why I made sure that I put a royal rodent um, on the screen to remind you that all of these tabloids are just full of rats, one rat after the other. So, what is this? Am I seeing? Is there a birthday today? Is someone having a birthday? Anna Espinoza, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Anna Espinoza, and many happy returns of the day. Okay, so Tory MP in charge of scrutinizing British media hosted drinks event for for GB News. Carolyn, that person again, who is scrutinizing proposed changes to media legislation, sponsored. Gosh, her face looks familiar. I just don't know who she looks like. Doesn't she look familiar? I just don't know who she looks like. Anyway, sponsored event this month. So, Tory MP in charge of scrutinizing British media hosted a parliamentary drinks party for GB News. The Guardian has learned. Carolyn, that person, sponsored an event for the right wing television channel in a room on the parliamentary estate earlier this month. That person is chair of the House of Commons Culture Select Committee, which is examining the government's proposed media legislation, including changes to impartiality requirements. That would be a change, wouldn't it? In recent weeks, her committee has questioned whether GB News should be allowed to employ four serving Conservative MPs as presenters. The Tory deputy chair, Lee Anderson, is under investigation for filming some of his £100,000 a year show on the roof of Parliament. Wow. Well, this is easy. No. No, they should not be. Why are they wasting our time with this nonsense? They're all in cahoots together. You can draw a line between the royal family, the courtiers, the royal rodents, the wider news organizations, the popo. You can draw a line and you would hit all of them in between. There's no daylight in between them. There is wide ranging connections and in some cases flat out corruption. Power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. So if you have a TV presenter, let's say, oh, I don't know, Dan Wootton, who seems to have absolute power in the workplace, or if you have a TV presenter like, oh, I don't know, Philip Schofield, who seems to have absolute power in the workplace, then of course the idea that their corruption would either go unnoticed, unmentioned, not even discussed. We saw the same thing with Matt Lauer. We saw the same thing with Bill O'Reilly and a host of other people. Roger Ailes. There's someone I used to really love, Rose. What's his name? Rose on uh, CBS. All of those people. Charlie Rose. There you go, Charlie Rose. All of those people, they were in very powerful positions and they made the lives of everyone around them miserable. Even the people who were not directly victimized by them, they had to suffer through the anxiety of, am I next? Or how come I didn't try to protect that person? It ruins the workplace. It really does. So there you go. Now, really enjoyed this evening GB News Summer Drinks event at the, what is that, Portacallis House in London. Enjoyed meeting former Home Secretary Pratit Patel and the current Home Secretary Suella Braverman. Wow, it's a who's who of who's being influenced. In a sign of GB News' growing influence over right-wing politics in the UK, the Summer Drinks event was attended by the Home Secretary Suella Where Is My Heart Braverman and her predecessor in the post, Where Is My Humanity, Pratit Where Is My Humanity Patel. According to Politico, other MPs in attendance included Chris Heaton Harris, Mark Francho, Graham Brady, what is that, Taj Mahal something, and Joe Gideon. What is that, Tamaji Singh, that person. They were joined by GB News presenter Dan Wootton. Oh, they allow snakes in that place, do they? Anyway, I'm sick of them. I'm back. Okay. Star Tabloid Journal fires a warning shot over sordid double life allegations. This is the Daily Beast. I think this only just came out. Oh, no, this came out on the 24th. This is the Daily Beast. So the circle is growing. The circle is growing. Not fast enough to satisfy everyone in the Sussex squad or any other concerned citizens, but the circle is growing. The journalist who broke Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's leaving Salt Island story and caused international headlines after claiming Johnny Depp was that right there, is the center of a bizarre media scandal that has erupted across the pond. See, it's still centered across over there. Dan Wootton, a former star reporter at Rupert Murdoch's Sun newspaper, has been accused of creating bogus online identities, etc., etc. So anyway, you guys, the circle is getting bigger. May it swallow him up and spit him out, okay? May he be swallowed whole by this circle and spit out on the wet pavement and collected by the garbage collectors. So, in recent years, Dan Wootton, who is gay, has tried to become UK's answer to Tucker Carlson. Well, when I saw that, as you can see, I made it highlighted in red because, yeah, that does make a lot of sense. With a primetime show on British Fox News wannabe GB News and is also a columnist for the Mail Online. Wootton, whom Prince Harry branded sad little man in his autobiography, admitted making errors of judgment in a bizarre on-air mea culpa last week, but also claimed he was a victim of a witch hunt by nefarious players. Of course, he is the victim. You know, the biggest victims are always the ones that claim that somebody else has victimized them. Donald Trump has built his career on being a victim. Um, that hoghead Pierce Morgan has built his career on being a victim. They're all victims. They're all victims. It's it's so ironic that the most powerful people in all of Western society, white men, are always playing the victim, and then of course they accuse you of using the victim card. They are the ones who get to be a victim, but but not in name, just in their opinion, right? And of course, when people ask about it, they're like, "Oh yeah, yeah. Well, this happened, that happened. So are you playing the victim?" No, no. They're playing the victim. They always do that. I don't know. It just it has a cup. It has a cup. But listen, if you were that rat and you were exposed to the kind of stuff that this thing has witnessed, wouldn't you need a cup of something too? So I don't know. I love that rat though. Okay, so on a more serious note, this young man, Levi Davis, is still missing. And Pedo was the content creator at the Sussex friendly channel, Facts and Two Cents, who first brought him to my attention. Now, I did find the video, and I did actually listen to him, and it is very, very painful to listen to. Um, but he spends about 15 minutes explaining things that have affected him and possibly, but we hope not. Thing is, he's missing. So he may not be here anymore. We really don't know. We hope and pray that he is, but we don't know. But his mother said that he was being blackmailed. He says that he was being blackmailed. He used the term organized crime. And if this in any way leads back to that person's doorstep, if this leads back to a TV show host doorstep, no matter what happens with any of that other stuff, if they could possibly make that connection, and I'm not saying that there is, we don't know. He may be somewhere in hiding. Although, when you're on the lam, one of your biggest, actually, the biggest thing you have to worry about is running out of money, even if you decide to disappear. But, he would be noticed if he was anywhere, he would be noticed. So let's hope he's alive and well. Let's hope that the dark forces that have been targeting him are no longer after him and that he can, come back and resume his life. I mean, he has a life that was so promising here or there, wherever, in the UK. But young people, they're targeted, especially when they're trying to start off their career. And it doesn't matter whether you play rugby, it doesn't matter whether you're a contestant in a beauty show or a reality TV. It does not matter. Even if you are just a line worker at McDonald's. Uh, Older people and people in positions of authority use a great deal of coercion. One of the things that you have to do is reach out to the young people in your life and teach them how to say no. Teach them how to ask for help. Teach them that whatever few options that they think they have, there's always so much more if you just ask for help. Um, I recently had an experience. Well, actually, it wasn't my experience, it was someone else's, but knew of something in their workplace. And because of these situations, I said, tell him that he needs to document it. And this was because it was a heterosexual young man and an older person that was being very coercive and very handsy and such with this young man. And even though he was very hurt by what happened, mentally at odds with the situation, torn apart really, he didn't want to say anything because he didn't want to be branded as anti LGBTQ. Tell him to make an incident report because he could be out of a job and that old queen might go on to offend the next person and the next person. If he was bold enough to do it this time, then he probably has done it before. So tell him to document because taking a chance on staying quiet and, I don't want to work with this person. I don't want to, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. And you don't know who the older person is tight with in the organization, right? Tell him to document. Make documentation because the worst thing that could happen is that you could be out of a job and that person will still be there offending the next and the next and the next gullible, wide-eyed young person that's happy to have a job. If there were rights available to some of those people who worked for the royal family when backstairs Billy was there, but they didn't have any rights because it was the royal family. But this is 2023, and there's ways of dealing with these things. So document. Got to talk to the young people. Let them know that there are options. Let them know they're not alone. They have nothing to be ashamed of because they hope that shame, they hope that fear will make it easier for them to do what they have gotten away with, likely many times before. So you got to have these conversations. It's uncomfortable, but it's necessary. Got it? All right. Okay, so fourth part of our investigation into Dan Wootton is due tomorrow afternoon with more extraordinary revelations. Meanwhile, do support Byline Time by subscribing. There's the link right there. Our our dedicated Media 2 team here. Subscribe bylinetimes.com Media 2. If you don't get the information from here, go to the community tab. I put the link up there yesterday. So that way you will be able to make a contribution if you so choose to do so. Thank you so much for that. Now, let's get into a little messy, which I am so prone to do from time to time. Okay. Kate Middleton labeled a disappointment in her approach to jewelry by former Vogue editor Susie Minks, who was awarded the OBE by the late Queen. She doesn't have Camilla's joy. That's interesting because when I think of Camilla, I don't necessarily think joy. I think tired, leathery, breathy, deep voice, um, bad mascara, iron. For some reason, I always think iron and starch, iron and starch. But anyway, when I think of Camilla, I don't think joy. I don't see joy. I see that old, tired person that leapt out of that carriage on Coronation Day, that went stomping through rain puddles to get into the Westminster Abbey. That's who I think of, but I don't think joy. I think of someone who was wearing a silk dress designed by a designer who had actually made many gowns for Princess Diana. I looked at her in this dress that seems like it was wearing her, a dress that seems like she was going to slide right out of that chair. That's what I think of. I think old, tired, breathy, peroxide. That's what I think of when I think of Camilla, but I don't ever think joy. I think A-line cut dress, a ridiculous hat, and of course, a grin that would shatter a mirror. But I don't necessarily think joy. The last thing I think about is joy. I think of sneaky, suspicious, conniving, um, uh, evil. That's what I think of. Y.M. Joyce says, for all her who's, Camilla has a hubby who wants her. You know what? You got that right. In spite of everything I said, and by the way, thank you for the super chat. In spite of everything I've said, she does have a husband who seems to be genuinely interested in making sure that she don't ever move out of her house and into his. You're right, because from what I hear, Camilla still spends a lot of time over at the Casa de Shan. So, yeah, I get your point. So anyway, she doesn't have Camilla's joy. Is that where I left off? It seems like I blacked out for a second. It seemed like I blacked out for a second. What happened? I remember getting to the part where it says she doesn't have Camilla's joy. And then after that, everything else is a blur. Did I black out? I'm just asking for a friend. Anyway, uh, what is the complaint? Well, according to Susie Minks, the 79-year-old made the comment on her podcast, Creative Conversation. Princess Beatrice is all smiles with her. Oh, that ain't got nothing to do with this. So, the former Vogue International editor accused Kate Middleton, 41, of appearing indifferent to the collection of rare and precious jewels that is, she is privileged to wear, and said she doesn't seem as passionate about jewels as her mother-in-law. Did I say Claw? Her mother-in-law, Camilla. Um, she said Princess of Wales is a bit of a disappointment. A bit of a disappointment. A bit of a disappointment, if that isn't a monumental understatement. Anyway, she said the Princess of Wales is a bit of a disappointment. A bit of a disappointment, just a bit, not whole and completely disappointing. What was I saying? I just blacked out again. Oh, yeah, there I was. The Princess of Wales is a bit of a disappointment about jewelry. She gives the impression that she only puts it on when she absolutely has to. Does she put the jewelry on, or is she on the jewelry? I haven't figured that out yet. To say that she's disappointing is to say that you crawled under a rock years ago, let's say, what was it, 2011, and you just emerged and you found out that Harry married a sister. The Queen went to Balmoral and never came back. Andrew has disappeared. and that William married a mannequin. That is what has happened since 2011. Um, Kate looks uncomfortable in everything she wears, in spite of all of the hype, in spite of all of the force fed, oh, isn't she so lovely from the tabloid media. This is a very average person who is uncomfortable in her own skin, who has been built up as the perfect English rose. Where, I mean, it is so offensive to me. I'm going to go there, so buckle your seatbelt. It is so offensive to me that one of the most dynamic people to have ever married into that family, if not the most dynamic people that ever married into that family, someone who has worked and earned wealth of her own, someone who developed a clothing line, had 3 million followers on Instagram, someone who was, I mean, I hate to say the obvious, but this is a monumental task. If you are a working actor on a series, any series, if you have a stable position for 7 years, you are considered successful, highly successful. Most actors are not working right now. Most actors are doing other things, waiting for their big break. So whether you love Suits or you hate it, she has still managed to scratch out a living as a working actress. And that is that, amongst other things, including the fact that now she is a mom and absolutely stunning. Not that that's important because that ain't how she rolled, but I'll just say, and absolutely beautiful. And they can't take it. They can't take it. So instead, they want to force feed us this fashion disaster from 2011 and try to make us believe that this is one of the most intelligent, the most stunning people ever to draw a breath. When the truth is, and I'm being very polite and honest when I say average, just average, average, plain Jane. And some of the costumes that she wore, if you think that's bad now, take a look at what she wore to a party before she take a look at what she wore to a party before she married into the institution. Look at what she wore to a party. Is that her mama's? Did she go and raid her mama's closet? Is somebody trying to play big girl? Huh? What the hell is that she got on? I've seen mothers of the bride that look more elegant. What is she wearing? Is she going to an Avon convention or what? Is she a Mary Kay Beauty? No, I ain't gonna say that. She is not a Mary Kay beauty consultant. But what is she wearing? What is she wearing? Or should I say, what is wearing her? What is that that's wearing her? Did she know the Duchess of Edinburgh? Did she know Wessex, Sophie Wessex? Did she know her before she married into the royal family? Were they shopping at the same, I guess, discount women's apparel store? You would never believe, you'll never believe that Plain Jane has a degree in art history. You wouldn't believe it because you would imagine that someone who has embraced the arts would know the time honored classic elegance of the, upper class enough to fit in. But no, I'll just go in there and look in my mama's closet. There's got to be something I could wear. So, anyway, that, ladies and gentlemen, is the English Rose who is afraid of probably the best jewelry collection anywhere outside of a museum, the best jewelry collection anywhere, and she's afraid to wear it. Yes, she is afraid, and she should be afraid because you could take. And by the way, this is joy. I mean, I just don't see joy when I look at Camilla. I see someone that's mouth is always encrusted with some type of grease or crumbs or dairy product. She eats like a savage. I don't see any joy there. There's no joy there. She has climbed over many a carcass to get in that position, and still she's just from nowhere. So I'm so glad to get that out of my system. Also, as you can see, praise for Queen of Diplomacy, Camilla's decision to ditch the controversial Koh-i-Noor diamond and wear a 112-year-old Queen Mary crown at the coronation will help avert diplomatic row with India, experts say. She still looked a mess. Doesn't matter, she still looked a mess. She looked a mess yesterday, the day before, 10 years ago. She still looked a mess, but I will give her this much. At least she's not afraid to wear the jewelry. She's not afraid of the jewelry. And with that, you guys, with that little that little shade, I am done. Thank you all so much. Thank you, moderators, for keeping this a safe space. And we'll have to have a little dance off for Anna Espinosa's birthday. I didn't forget. And we'll do that, of course, with Hello, Ivy here. Hello, Ivy here. Hello, Ivy. Today is Lilibet Diana Mountbatten-Windsor's birthday. Meet me at the Royal Sussex party. Church Nellie's gonna be there. All right, Ivy out. You know what? I have not come down from my high yet. Oh, I'm sorry. No sound. I'm sorry. I was blowing my nose. I don't know. For some reason, my sinuses are bothering me. Okay. Thank you so much. As I was saying, the last thing I remember, I kind of blacked out a couple of times. I remember saying Camilla eats like a savage, and then next thing you know, it was Anna's birthday. So, okay. So anyway, let me go back to our queens. There we go. There we go. Our queens. All right. Love you guys. See you guys tomorrow. Looking for the last word of the day. And that, of course, is Bramil Morrison says, have a good night, you all. God bless you. I love that. Thank you so much. Thank you, moderators. Thank you for your subscriptions and memberships. Thank you to the Patreon people, and thank you for watching Royal Sussex. And with that, I am going to cue the Ginger Avenger, and I will see you all tomorrow. Tomorrow. I love your tomorrow. You're only a day away. Oh, I wasn't shopping online. Oh man. I had a coupon I had to use, and if I didn't use it, I was going to lose it. I just hope I remember I used it. But okay, thank you all so much. Hey, Marshall, didn't see you here. Ingrid Soares, Christina L., Adrian Burrow, good night. Kim Harris, educate you too. Faithview Owan, let's see. Lady T, Margaret, Minka. I'm sorry, Minka. Okay, and 1960. All right. Okay, see ya. Myra MC Laurent, Cookies and Cream. Where y'all been? Brenda Phillips? Susie's mom? Dansby one? Denise Marcus? Have I not been paying attention today? Okay, good night.